Memo bibi akwa basonko wa ha ye nkasa TV ene de edi kan hwe nkasa TV a mesra so be subscribe be like na wa share mema we mfi so be mi odoma no so sine bituma so be nya bi ahwe tie kama kasebo na do ma me de basum mi am de kasebo ba basum ya mo so fara do hene ba kwa msa fo kantanka me na kasebo no esi me na so am chichi mu se trinkiti kam de ko bizi yi ya nye bre na nkote kasebo no mu nchebu mu abi yes, agreement housing project. You push for Muhammad Abu to just say, "You are not an starting. You might go for the person bedding or better also." Now then, say, "You ask the only be any asema. I didn't idea was chassis or person baby." Woman couldn't go to a museum. Woman go to Nintia, Amanabasa, Yabadi Umbian, Babson.
Money Mahama buyer at forcing is in case, it's in court right now, or dealing with over 3.25 million euros. In terms of financial malfeasance, so Nanado Ranko for the Besum, Wakra 200 ambulances for each and every district, and also when nursing and teachers training allowance and not former President John Dramani Mahama Pesoye. Now, so because of financial constraints in inability to prove their competence in management of the economy or maintenance, Nanado Danko Kufado, Abasobu, Etriama teachers, nurses, and on the way who anchor Anna. Even talk about doomso. Or say on DP or sign a PPP agreement in T. Nanado Danko for the inherit power. Wama power na I am somewhat stable for the 2-year term, 8-year duration. Year called the 8 year, and also when who ankana young cop in some against former president, current president Nanado Danko for to say on persuading or to us agreement house and so now even goes to show in some the chief for former President John Dramani Mahama so ben on who's a leadership style akakaka because anka president or a leader of executive who won't tear say case ni ewo judiciary yen fa yen sanka until a judgment has come down on the matter. Saglemi House is in court. ET Mensah cry NDC Sami Jemfi and John Dramani Mahama say statement no more pedal a pack of lies. Interview or granting ma Paul Adam Audrey and Kuni Kuti and Sema ET Mensah a kafa former President John Dramani Mahama and Sami Jemfi almost statement almost release year after the Saglemi court case ABP.
Move on. This is captured in black and white in the Parliamentary Hansard of 23rd October 2013. Sami Jemfi makes a clever reference, which we like. We like that because we like research. He says, whatever ET Mensah said, don't take it from him. Go to the Parliamentary Hansard. It's right there. You can see it. Okay. Number 4, subsequent to the grant of parliamentary approval, the Ministry of Works and Housing under Honorable ET Mensah again prepared and executed a works agreement with the contractors for the project. Contractor was OAS Limited. So ET Mensah did some work, he put it together, and then he put together the documents with the contracted OAS. Okay, it is in the works agreement that the government decided to build the 5,000 units in 4 phases. Okay, the consultant for the project was AESL on agreement. Okay, this is also very interesting. That's what the NDC is saying through Sami Jemfi. Now, this is interesting because he says that the agreement was for 5,000 houses. ET Mensah and the contractors decided that they would do it in 4 phases, and that the consultant for the project was a government consultant, and that Parliament had approved the agreement. So we will assume that 5,000 houses for 200 million. This is the NDC statement. 5,000 houses for 200 million. Okay, let's move on. And therefore, the works agreement, which was an issue of implementation by the ministry, was not required to be approved by Parliament. Okay, great. So Sami Jemfi is building a point that 200 million for 5,000 houses. A works agreement was agreed between ET Mensah and the consultants. That works agreement need not go to Parliament. It need not. I'm not sure what is the difference between a works agreement and produce 5,000 houses, because the obligation which you will see of the government was that Parliament gave to the government was, we are going to approve 200 million for you. You are going to build us 5,000 houses. Yes, you can decide to do that in phases, but that should not change the figure unless Parliament is part of the change. I think we can understand that. We have approved 200 million for you. You build 5,000 houses. You can do it however you want. Many phases, other phases, 3 phases, 10 phases, 4 phases. But you have 200 million to build 5,000. Okay, that doesn't come clear here from Sami Jemfi's statement at this stage. He says that the works agreement was not an issue of implementation by the ministry, and it did not require Parliament's approval, which will be deciding to do it in phases. I think that's what he's saying. If you decide to do it in phases, you don't need to go back to Parliament. Somehow we can agree with that. Okay, let's move on. Under the works agreement, government was supposed to provide a service plot of land with roads, water, electricity, drains, sewage systems, and other ancillary facilities for the smooth takeoff of the project. Okay. The cost of which had not been factored into the amount of $200 million approved by Parliament for the project, since the government did not have any funds to fall onto to discharge these responsibilities. Voila! Here is the filling of the lacuna. Let's start. Very interesting. He says under the agreement, the government was supposed to provide service plot, which makes a lot of sense. Service plot of land with roads. Government is supposed to provide roads, water, electricity, drains, sewage system, and other ancillary facilities for the smooth takeoff of the project. However, the cost of these things had not been factored into the amount of $200 million. So when Parliament approved $200 million, Samit Efi wants us to believe that the $200 million was excluding the ancillary facilities that needed the project to work. That is roads, sewage system, etc. Service plot, generally a service plot, a plot that has water connection, has electricity connection. That all of that was not part of the 200 million. Government was supposed to provide that. He says also that government did not have money to fall on to make these commitments. He says, let me take it from here. It says the cost of which had not been factored into the amount of 200 million approved by Parliament for the project, since the government did not have any funds to fall onto to discharge these responsibilities. He said the government didn't have any funds to fall onto to discharge the responsibilities. Therefore, the decision was taken by the ministry to use part of the approved amount of the project, 200 million, for all the necessary ancillary works to pave way for the construction of the housing units and to make the project site a commercially viable and habitable community. There we go. So the Attorney General is prosecuting that you have 200 million was approved for the entire project. The NDC says 200 million was approved for the project itself. That 200 million did not include all the ancillary things that government as a partner to the project had to do. The project is being done, the loan is being taken, project is being done by a contractor, government is his partner. Government provide me the land, I'll build the houses. Samit Efi says to provide the land in a service plot, it excluded 200 million. Government didn't have money to do all of those ancillary works, sewage and all that. So government had to take from the 200 million for that purpose. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. It says, this is what informed the decision by the ministry to do the project in phases, as the Honorable ET Mensah had already intimated to Parliament. Clearly, the 5,000 houses could not be built at a go. Yes, that's true. Also, the initial drawings presented to the Ministry of Works and Housing by the developer was based on a Brazilian building code, and it wasn't fit for